Mr. Cogdell was just asking about the sales tax expansion related to Article 44. And just to remind you, the projection for Bladen County is $705,000 annually. We've been on track to actually receive about $753,000 if it continues to come in, because it seems to be a pretty set amount monthly, and that's $62,000, just under $63,000 per month, which would generate about $753,000. For the budget for this upcoming year, we have earmarked about $691,000 of that money for Bladen County Schools at $391, Bladen Community College at $156, and Economic Development at $144. And just to point out, Bladen County Schools, we increased their budget by $300,000 this current year. We have not received any request from the school system so far. We've just plugged in that same 6.7, I think it's $6.7 million. However, if you'll recall, we had 2 deputy positions that were funded for school safety. That funding has expired, and so we're using a portion of those funds to help to sustain the cost of those 2 deputies. And they are for Bladen County Schools.
What?
It's going to come from one place or the other anyway.
What was it last year?
Last year, about 550. If I'm
I'm
not
talking
mistaken.
about, is that the percentage we did last year, basically?
What year?
No, the community college probably went up some.
Went up?
Yeah, it went from
It went up
106 to
50,000.
106
It
last year.
was 106, it went up 50, about 50,000.
And the schools were,
The schools went from 300 to 391.
so they went up 91?
But they haven't requested, that's without the school system's request. I
I was
be
just
very clear
wondering,
on
like,
that.
the capital need for the roof and that community college.
That's what Mr. Cogdell was asking about too. We pretty much earmarked this for recurring needs so far.
I
One
know
of the-
that, I mean, it can go toward that.
Right, it certainly could.
That's a one-time,
Right.
well, similar like a one-time money
Right,
to about 12 years, and then one time again.
that's right.
Yeah,
We're pushing our, I guess my point is, we're pushing our margin already, because we're already close to that, we're already at 691, close to 700. The one thing that, an idea I've had, and I want to talk to you about, and I get your feedback and give you time to think about it. You know, we have the one-time money that from the sale of the home health program. That's $1.9 million. The economic development money, if the county wanted to earmark a portion of those funds, whether it's 1.5 or up to the 1.9 or whatever the county wants to do, to make that payment, to make the one kind of, it would serve like an annuity. And that money would be set aside or reserved, and then the $144,000 would come off of that money each year. Then that would free up $144,000 more toward education.
So we would actually delegate $400,000 of that 1.9 for economic development in the reserve fund.
I'm not sure what figure it is. I was saying like 1.
He says put it all in reserve fund.
Yeah,
and
or
draw that
1.5 of it, whatever
$144 out
figure.
each year.
Right. Use that like as an annuity to pay the 144, or if something comes up, a project that you need more money, you'd have that money there you'd have more flexibility. And then, but at the minimum, it would continue to meet the practice of $144,000 per year. Then it would in turn free up the sales tax money from Article 44 to be used toward community college or public schools.
Because you committed to 144 already per year.
Yes, sir.
So you're just coming out of that money.
Right.
That might be it. We'll talk about that.
That's what I'm saying, that's about,
The other things maybe.
so we talking about taking $705,000 and allocating between 2 of them, between the school and the community college.
So anyway, that's just something to think about.
Thank you about that.
As far as school funding, I wanted to just visit that briefly, to just show you a brief history back to the fiscal year 13 adopted budget.
So I got a question.
Yes, sir.
The COPS, the COP grant, there's 2 COPS that's expired, but you got to pay for it for how long?
2 years.
at least a year or two.
I know that we gotta pay for it another year.
Uh-huh. And so that's what I was saying, we just earmarked some of that money to help pay for that.
Okay.
Pay for that.
So what happens after the year? How do
We
we
can
do?
fund it or not fund it.
Right.
So
The
we can
county's gonna
decide
know.
whether or not we want to keep deputies in the school system or not.
Well, no, well, I mean, that may be an
Exactly, that's as simple as that. We're gonna keep
Just
doing
to,
it.
I'm not sure how familiar some of the commissioners are, but when the county accepted that grant for two additional school resource officers, that moved the total from 5 to 7.
Okay.
Well, not long after that decision was made, the school system reduced 2, and so the net is still 5. But the county has in turn absorbed the cost for funding those 2 new deputies. So it's basically a cost shift. And all we're doing is using the sales tax money that is specifically for education purposes to fund that.
But what I'm
that new
asking,
cost.
if we decide not to, then you'd be down to 3 deputies.
That's correct. Yes, sir.
Next year budget, you can decide to fund or not fund,
Correct. That's
You
right.
got to have more than 3 deputies, right?
but you got to fund it this year.
Because we get down below the net 5 that we started out with. That's exactly right.
I'm not sure if we have that.
I'll start at the bottom of the chart here. In 2013, the county's appropriation was almost 5.8 million plus an additional 200,000. The allotted ADM figure was 5128. That equaled a current expense amount of $1,127.58 per student per ADM. ADM's average daily membership, plus the 39 for that 200. And then you can see it's continued to, the county's appropriation has continued to move up. The allotted ADM figure has continued to decline. So the current expense per ADM figure has increased based on 2. It's moving on 2 factors, increase in the allotment and a decrease in the allotted ADM figure. For 2016 or
The
17.
population, if you lose a kid, that shows ours increase, right?
That's right.
So
That's
when
right.
the child leaves public school and go to charter school, private school, then our funding increases.
I think the state's beginning to track the allocation to charter schools better than it has in the past. So, but the figure that is used is the allotted ADM figure. And I'll just give you, for example, you'll see for this upcoming year, 2018, the allotted ADM figure that the state has given is 4,539. However, the projected figure is 4,410. So it's 129 less than that. So, again, we haven't received a request. If we just plug the same figure that we had this year, just for whatever talking purposes, it increases the current expense per ADM from 1437 to 1476, and that is at the higher allotted ADM figure.
So, Greg, with the ADM, are you saying that when children leave to go to a charter school or public school, a private school at this time, that the money doesn't follow that child from our?
No, it does
funding?
follow the child.
It follows from our
Yes, sir.
funding, right?
Mhm.
Well, how
At a
are
per
ADM?
capita rate. So the figure, now this may not, there may be a little bit more detail to it than this, but in essence, that $1,476 figure is what the school system would send to the charter school, 1/12 of that each month. I guess it's 1/12 or
The
1/10,
total
however
is
they
what,
pay it.
7,000 per student?
Sir,
What's the total figure?
well, the state dollars follow this.
$7,000 that they have to give per student when they get a list from the, like charter schools sends to Board of Education that they got 7 students named and all, they have to send 7,000 per student.
Because it's more than just ADM.
Well, but the only thing is the school system, the state dollars and federal dollars follow the student
Yes.
directly to the charter school. The county dollars is the only pot of money that flows only from the county to the school system and then from the school system to the charter school. So the school system doesn't deal with the state allocation for each student. That money goes directly from Raleigh to the respective charter school. Only the county's ADM funding goes first to the school system and then to the charter school.
And if the student decides to leave the school, go back to the public school,
Yeah.
and it's not refundable back to the school.
That's
They
what,
come
if
back
it's
to
after
the
that
school.
20-day count, that's what
Yeah,
that's what
they'll
we're
come
doing.
back.
That's
Because
right.
the public schools don't get the money back from the state.
That's
But
right.
they're working on that, trying to change.
They're trying to come up with a formula to work through that.
Not fair.
One of the big priorities in the budget is related to employee compensation. Funding for approximately 50% of the implementation of the compensation study is included in the draft budget at this point. The budget also includes funding for automatic steps for probationary employees, for those who complete their 1 year of service with the county, and they would receive the step increase. Longevity is also included, that's just over $200,000, and then the holiday bonus is budgeted as well, and that's $69,000. And again, that's a net $150 per employee that holiday.
Is the longevity pay, I know in the state system, some of it, they did away with longevity pay.
They did.
Is that a county option
is.
to do that, or whether or not state?
It's a county.
That's a county
Yes, sir.
option, whether they do it or not.
That's right.
Okay.
And it begins with a person who has completed 5 years of service.
So that's like we giving that extra fringe.
That's
that
right.
the state took away.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The state health plan coverage, it has a projected increase of 3.15%, and that will become effective in January. And so that's $90.66 that's been budgeted for each person. And so it's basically about it'll be an increase of approximately $15 per month, beginning in January. And then the retirement system contribution will increase from 7.34% to 7.57% for general employees. And for law enforcement, it will increase from 8% to 8.25%.
One
The
last
state
thing.
health plan coverage increased 3.15%.
Yes, sir. In January. It's on the January to December.
Yeah, but I'm saying, and then you got, or 90, so you're saying that it would be $90.66 per person.
For that 6-month period, about $15 a month.
But the thing that happened is that, you know, when they came up with that enrollment piece, where people had to fill out their enrollment, like for smoking and all that.
Yes, sir, open enrollment.
And you had
That's
to
right.
be in compliance with that, or either you
Yes,
had to
sir.
pay penalty.
Mhm.
Do we keep that in line? Will we keep this rate down with that enrollment? or
We
how
do. Yes, sir.
So we notify everybody and make sure they sign up for it.
Oh, yes, sir, we do. That's,
I know one time-
Maria works extremely hard.
No,
on
some
that
of them, one
status.
time they were calling me that some of them saying they were paying extra money because they didn't get contacted about enrollment and all that
They,
stuff.
and Maria can speak to this much better than I can, but each employee is required to complete the smoking attestation form. And if they don't, or if Maria receives a notification from the state health plan that it hasn't been completed for a certain person, then they have the opportunity to do an appeal. And she's done multiple appeals, I know, for a number
So
of
Maria's the
individuals.
one that's handling that right now.
Well, we work with each department to try to help coordinate it, but then Maria and Shanti and folks.
Okay. I know that was one of the things they were complaining about at one time, they had to
Right.
pay that extra rate because of that line.
It's like $40 a month, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a pretty good bit.
Yeah.
And next year, it's gonna go on to the 70/30 as well.
Yeah.
But just to, Mr. Cardell just spoke to the plan year for the state health plan is January to December, whereas our fiscal year is July to June. So that's why we're making it clear that increase doesn't begin until January. So we only have to budget for that additional money for 6 months. And then I'd like to speak briefly to the use of fund balance in the budget. The projected fund balance, or use of fund balance is just over $1.7 million. Of that, $1,072,659 is for capital outlay, equipment type purposes. $536,250 is for vehicles, and then $127,162 is for the health department. That is the restricted money that has been earned in certain programs and can only be used in certain programs. So those funds couldn't be used for other purposes. So that's restricted. Just to remind you on the capital outlay too, of that million, there's 650 right off the bat for 2 roof projects. So just 2 or 3 items make up a large portion of those those dollars. And then just two important points to remember, and I know I say this every year, but we're very fortunate that the county's financial condition is strong currently. However, we have to be mindful of keeping it that way, and so it's fundamentally important to limit recurring expenditures to a level that can be funded by recurring revenues, and therefore the use of fund balance should be limited to capital and one-time items.
Great.
What is the health department money on this?
The health department money, that's a good question. The health department money, the budget,
Revision rate?
it went down, sir.
I'm talking about for your fund, use of fund balance.
Oh, no, there's four, I think they're highlighted in blue on it, wasn't it?
They are. There's 5 different programs.
Environmental
Not on the
health.
PowerPoint?
No, sir, it's not on.
You got WIC and healthcare management, health promotion, home health is out.
But the overall health department budget is going down. We all know it will go down related to the home health department being removed from the budget, but it's actually going down. The county's share of the cost is actually decreasing beyond that. Or it was earlier, right?
It was. I haven't remembered.
Or what?
Or at
Where's
least,
the
let me say,
description of this stuff? What do you mean by it?
where do you, where are you
Well,
looking?
I mean, like, you're talking about WIC, that's going down, but like,
Yeah, that's great.
healthcare management, what is that for? That's a $42,000 increase. I mean, you
that's
don't have to
restrict-
answer, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
It's restricted money.
Those
It
are
comes
all
in
the
from state.
restricted things. The revenue that's earned in those programs is restricted to only be used in those programs.
You're
So like that
projecting
100
you're projecting an increase in, aren't you?
Yes, sir.
So
And like,
why-
for instance,
why are
that
we having
100
an increase? You don't
that-
have to answer it now,
Okay,
just,
yeah, I'll-
just keep a thought of that.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me then, the difference in when you say the decrease from year to year, that means that that's more money or less cost to us?
A decrease would be less cost.
And the increase is saying what they budget for more, or
Right.
going to be more expenditures for the next year?
Right.
So,
Now, that would be total expenditure, so that wouldn't necessarily, that wouldn't, just on this sheet, I can't say that it would specifically speak to the county's net cost.
okay.
Are these include, this ain't include salaries, are they?
Yes, sir.
Mhm.
This includes salaries.
These are total, that's just a summary of the total
Okay.
budget by department. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Great.
Yes, sir.
We in discussion now? Is that where we at?
We've been in discussion.
I just wanna know if you got discussion up, and I ain't want you to get, you saying why you talking about next.
Raise your hand, I'll recognize you. Mr. Cogdill. Been discussing about
I
that.
want to make sure where we're at now. No, now, what I'm asking on this, Mr. Martin, is, and I'm trying to keep my things in perspective now. We first started, we talked about the $5.772 million.
Right.
Now, that's not included in this, right?
No, sir. 1.7 from fund balance is included.
Okay, now, what I'm asking, during this project, budget work session, when we get to working, is that 5.7 gonna be asked to be allocated? Are you gonna come in with us a list of where it needs to go, or prioritize where it should go? Or is any of that gonna go into fund balance, or how is that money gonna be orchestrated? Or will you bring that to us at a later date?
Well, my plan would be for it to go it rolls to fund balance because it's revenues in excess of the expenditures for the year. And that's an estimate at this point, so we won't have the final numbers until
But what I'm
end of the
asking,
fiscal year,
if we,
or end of the calendar year.
if someone decides, the community come in and want to ask for some specific projects during this time, or we want to introduce something different,
Right.
can we use that money that's there for that purpose?
If the board
If
chooses
the
to.
board approve, we can,
yes.
that fund is available to do those type of
I
things.
can't say that the full 5.7 is
No, I ain't
because
want
some may be
5.7,
restricted,
I
but
know that.
we know, for instance, the 1.9, the home health money has no restrictions on it.
Okay, so like if there's some particular project that we want to look at,
Right.
doing something a little different,
Right.
we could use some of that fund at this time, but if it's not a reoccurring cost, or can it be a one-time expenditure, how would you look at it?
Well, that's a very good question, and that gives me the opportunity to reiterate the importance of using one-time funds such as that for one-time expenses or capital expenses that are not recurring in nature, because as easy and tempting as it is to do, you know, you're just setting up for problems down the road when that expenditure continues to come around year after year if you don't have a sustaining source of revenue to meet that need.
So when we come in with something, preferably from your perspective, you want it to be a one-time occurring cost.
If you're using fund balance to
Fund
fund
balance.
it, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yep. And that's why I was thinking as far as about the economic development money. You know, if you want to earmark a portion of that for economic development and then just pull the 144 if, you know, each year, then that shows that you've identified a purpose for that. those
But we got
funds.
5.772. That's dead.
That's an estimate.
That's-
So I'm not sticking with it. I
It's
mean,
kind of close there, if we calculate.
we hope it will if things continue to
Really got
come.
four, he got about four something, he put $1
Yeah, you put $1 million
million back in there.
You put it back. Okay, I want to know what was there that could be, we could use and have a little working room to talk to you about.
Right.
Okay.
May I ask for reevaluation, is that for tax reevaluation?
Yes, ma'am, that's required every 8 years, and we are required to appropriate approximately 1/8 of the cost, or Bladen, let me back up, Bladen County has historically performed a reevaluation every 8 years. It can't be any more than 8 years between reevaluations. Some counties may choose to do that on a 4-year cycle, so Bladen County has historically been on an 8-year cycle. So we appropriate $50,000 per year, but part of that is because when we completed the project in 2015, we had 250 or so,
280 something. like that.
280 some thousand left over. The project came in, it was actually cheaper in 2015, if I'm not mistaken, than it was in 2007. So we had a cushion there to build on for the next time.
When is that?
2022, 2023, 8 years after 2023.
Great. Could I ask you one question? I want to make sure this for refresher of my mind. When we looked at school funding, I want to make sure I understood what we did back a while back.
Okay.
That whenever we give an increase to school funding, it's a reoccurring thing that we have to do every year?
On current expense, generally speaking, and the state, in a way, holds your feet to the fire on that because they use it was a 3-year rolling average.
It still is 3
It
years.
still is 3 years. They use a 3-year rolling average, so if you drop below your 3-year rolling average, then they will penalize you with state cuts, state withholding of state funds, so that counties, I guess it helps to provide stability for school systems in terms of funding.
Okay, 'cause I remember you said one time when we increased it, we had to go back the next year and increase it again. Like you could run that problem with that.
You
so-
can't have significant cuts. I mean, you wouldn't be able to have it, right.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And the library has the same thing. It's called
Maintenance of them.
maintenance of effort. They look at it. They call it
Okay, I
maintenance
just want
of
to make sure
effort.
that was something that you could have put.
Well, can I ask also with the, when you look at the schools, for 2018, projected reduced, why? Are you thinking?
It didn't. It's the bond payment.
Okay.
It's the what?
The bond payment. We've set up a
Okay.
debt service fund this year instead of having it in every department. And so we've got all the debt pulled out of every department and put into a debt service fund.
So it wouldn't show it to them.
That's on that sheet you were showing me.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And if you look at this one sheet, that's just a budget by department, you'll see, just beyond the halfway point on the back side of the sheet, $3,161,896 debt service fund. Those dollars are already included, like for budgeted year 2017, they're in the various departments.
Okay.
Already listed. And I'll tell you one thing Lisa and I talked about with this. One of the things that skews the budget when you compare year to year is if the county borrows money, and fortunately we haven't, other than for a large project like the jail, we haven't borrowed money for vehicles and that type of thing recently. But if the county does decide to borrow funds for the purchase of 10 patrol cars, then the county budgets the full expenditure of those 10 patrol cars, so $285,000. So that's the capital cost. We also budget, if we're going to finance that purchase over 3 years, we're gonna do the first year and then 2 more years. Then we'll budget 1/3, whatever 1/3 of that payment is, or, that 1 year's payment, in addition to the 285. So that's added almost another $100,000. And then on the revenue side, we budget the 285,000 coming as proceeds from the bank. So it skews your expenditure to make it look much larger than it really is. And then when you go back and compare year to year, one thing like that can throw you off. And so if we put the debt service payments in a debt service fund, then it helps to make that more clear to see, easy to see.
And that, the debt for the school though will end.
2021. And it's dropping off, it will continue to drop off over the course of the next few years leading up to that.
3 years.
Right.
Okay, thank you. And so when that happens though, is that money then stays with the county? The bond money?
Well, currently 900,000 is about half and half. The bond payment right now is around 1.8 or just over 1.8. So, about 900,000 of that is paid for by sales tax revenue that is earmarked for school capital purposes only. So, say for instance, that debt service payment, or that debt service was retired totally, then that would free up funds for the county. It would also free up funds for the county to use for school capital purposes in the amount of $900,000, so.
Greg, is your list everything everybody wanted, or is this what, like every department, or is it just a list that's been,
We tried to pull out, I mean, we tried to make a good faith effort to pull out the requests and present them in a form that would be easy for you to see so that you don't have to thumb through pages and pages of information. So we tried to make a good faith effort to identify the requested.
now, I asked that just in
Yes,
case the
sir.
department head sees somebody or something.
Right, yeah. You should understand what positions they request, and you should understand
But
capital.
there's
and-
no, they didn't request none that's not on here.
Not to my knowledge.
Well,
Other than the school system, because we haven't received requests from the
Right.
school system.
Mr. Martin, I see you got it for the payment of the parking lot for the library. What's that?
I don't know, was there a?
Nothing there.
I list,
Yeah,
we
we
listed
did
it,
talk about, we had talked about that,
but we ain't got a
but we
price.
haven't had seen anything about a price. That parking lot really is getting in poor condition.
Will the sheriff be able to get all 11 vehicles for that amount that we budgeted 285?
That's 10.
And we budgeted 10.
It still has
paid
11.
one.
He requested 11. He requested 11,
So that's why it shows up still 11 over here.
but we're budgeting 10.
Okay, I got a question for the commissioners. What topics would you like to discuss in small groups? And I just wrote down a few of mine, employees' compensation. I want to, for me to talk about home, I need to talk about home health dollars more in schools and VCC and fund balance. So what else would you like Greg to prepare in small groups? Anybody got anything to make notes of them while we were going through this, so he can bring us more information?
I agree.
I'm about the same as Bruno about the schools.
Well, did any other,
The fund balance, that 5 we were talking about, folks, that's
Part of it.
That's part of it. Yeah, we need to talk about that.
how do these other small projects that need to be done somewhere in the county, how do you bring those
What are you
up?
talking about?
For example, the support in that facility for the Sharkhaven. How do they have to get that one?
You really want me to answer?
Yes, you can. Why?
Because we're not going in individual communities and build recreation facilities.
Well, you can't drive, I mean, they can't drive 28, 30 miles to come to use the facility over here. It's too far. By the time you don't have the gas, you can come over here.
I mean, you can put it to the board, I'll just give you my answer. You gotta have 5 votes to do whatever you want to do, but
But even,
I don't know how you can single out a
match money-
community
match money.
and do that. That's just my thoughts.
But that was the thing I was asking about when we was talking about this money, and I was asking Greg about one-time expenditures. To what degree the board would look at that's what I'm saying, what kind of one-time expenditures would be preferable if you had to use them? If you're gonna give somebody out this $4 million, certain projects that we seen something need to be done in the county, if the board agreed that it's something need to be done to support the citizens, that's why I was trying to look at how we go about doing that, but I know it needs to be like a one-time thing. You don't need to be where you're gonna sit there and start funding money into something that the county don't own or trying to maintain some of the facility, because it's gonna be based on revenue. I was looking at how, what kind of projects would we look at, or what would you do with something like that, you know? How could we look at, could you go to parks and recreation and go to maintenance or whatever, and just see what type of one-time expenditure or something need to be done in the county? That this a one-time deal.
I understand exactly what you're saying. Just keep in mind for items related to Parks and Recreation, ideally, if we could see fit to fund the master plan and then have an opportunity next year to apply for a part of grant, then the county would only pay 50 cents on the dollar. So I think it'd be well worth the wait.
That's what I'm saying.
On something like that. If it was a county project.
I'm saying if we took money and said, well, you're looking at recreational needs in the county, or if you're looking at EMS needs, and we took some of that money and put it into a expenditure like you're talking about with economic development, and said this is what we're gonna give this money to look at, seeing if we can do this. Could we appropriate money that way and just let it sit there until we deal with parks and recreation, or deal with something, and then see if it's feasible to go along with the gentleman that runs the parks down there,
Right.
and try and put something in place like that, you know, because there's some other places too that talks about the outlying areas in the county. You know, you go out there, ain't nothing out there. Just sit in the middle thing, and sometimes when you're in the comfort zone, like if you live in close proximity to Bladenburg, close proximity to Littleton, they're the only two places we got. Clarkin got a little baseball field. That's the only two places you got in close
Clarkin's got more
proximity.
than Bladenburg. Bladenburg's, they're sitting there with one little park, and I'm not,
That's all Clarkin got, one.
no, they got 2 or 3 fields right there together.
That's what I'm saying, the one
Whatever,
facility.
that's what I'm saying, the community has built those facilities. Bladenburg's got a brand new park with no lights on it. They can't even, they use it daytime only. But I'm not gonna come here and ask the county to take county dollars to put lights on that ballpark for Bladenburg. I'm not gonna do
You
it.
know what I'm saying, there, John? We sitting here talking about Bladenburg, we talking about East
You
Decatur,
the
we
one
talking
brought it
about
up.
Littleton, but what I'm trying to say is, all of them are county citizens, ain't none of them from a foreign country. They all from Bladen County, they all pay taxes. Everybody
They
pay
don't nobody
taxes.
dispute that. This county that cannot afford, on my vote, to go out to these communities and start building recreation facilities and places like that. We don't have the money. We're putting things to the side that we need to be doing as county commissioners, like pay compensation and stuff like that, which we really need to be doing ahead of going out to communities and doing facilities and stuff.
I support your comment.
I'm honest, I
understand
do
that.
with you.
But at the same time, you have children, you have parents that are working during the day, children, no activities at all. But their parents pay taxes just like everyone else. I'm talking about College Creek, East Arcadia, Lisbon, White Creek, Tar all of those areas. And it could be something in every area for 3 or 4 communities together, a small town. And I'm not asking for a full, I'm not saying full, they can have match dollars.
Well, you can do like this town and get these matching grants.
That's what I'm saying, matching grants.
But you can do that on your own. The county don't need to get out there and do it. But you've had recreation at East Arcadia for years and years and years, and other communities had it in the summertime. No other community in this county has had that recreation
This
y'all
one,
had in that area.
yeah, for those kids.
No one else in the
that's
county's had it until we brought it up here to try to do more things.
And I think they need
And
it.
hopefully we're gonna do that this summer.
They need it.
And that's a start. But we have to use existing facilities to do it.
You know, the only thing I'm looking at is I sit here on the board and I'm trying to look at priorities and which way you go and how you get things to be done, Charlie. And I've looked at some things come through here that I won't happy and pleased with, but they came to the recreation department. And Grant, whatever his name, Grant paid, came in. And I looked at the thing and Greg sent me some figures on it. on that batting cage over there. And I ain't talking about Bladen, but I remember when that batting cage came up in here. And I looked at it and I didn't go along with that. I said, that's putting county money into something that I didn't go along with. But we agreed to do it. And now it's costing money. It's in the negative. It's in the red. But we still,
Close it down.
but still we funded. It came before here. It was given an opportunity to do it. And that was supposed to be something, wait a y'all, that was supposed to be something that when we put over there, it was gonna be minimum investment and it wasn't gonna be no reoccurring cost. That's the reason I asked Greg about the reoccurring cost. That thing has reoccurring costs. And we've been funded since I've been on here for 5 years. So what I'm saying is, but that was something we were willing to give an opportunity because we seen that there was a need. They came in here about it from the recreation part.
That is a program.
Yeah.
The town give them the facility, that is a program. If you own a program in East Arcadia, we can look at things like that. I'm talking about, you know, we're not there with material dollars.
I'm saying, but
They
this,
have a
as
program.
long as
They
it's
have
some
the-
recreation,
they
that's
have
what I'm
the land,
saying.
They did all that, but not just that. Because those activities are needed for these children so they get outside exercise. So adults, reduce obesity. It affects that. It also programs to help them with healthy lifestyles, period. It's not just about fun, it's about lifestyle. Exercise, nutrition, air, facilities there, for not just for children, we're talking about adults as well.
Ms. Montgomery, you have those programs there. You need to talk to Mary Ann Valentine and those people like that that's come here and made these presentations about in front of you. They do things like that. They do walking trails and stuff like that. But y'all were talking about the county taking tax dollars and doing a matching grant
Well,
for a facility and
but-
something. And that's a lot different from where you are right now.
But it's not county, it's all the citizens of
It's
Bladen.
county tax dollars.
True, but there's citizens pay taxes too.
Okay.
I hear what you're saying, but they pay taxes.
Anybody else got any comments want to chime in?
I was just looking at the thing.
You want that to be one of the discussion topics?
Yeah.
Yeah, put it on there, cause I'm serious. See, my thing is, if Greg came in here and we looked at that money that we had on expenditure last time with the jail. And we said that we were gonna do some things that were one-time occurring costs. And we came in here last year and we flooded the market with one-time reoccurring costs. That's what we did. Greg said, I'm gonna get all this stuff done this year. And we all agreed for him to spend money on one-time reoccurring costs. And he brought a whole lot of stuff that he said we needed, and he put it to use. And we said, one-time reoccurring costs. We didn't have to worry about looking at it but one time. And that was the only reason I asked about the one-time reoccurring costs. He said one time. And he came in here and he brought stuff all over the place till that money was exhausted with one-time reoccurring costs. That's the only thing I'm saying. That's the reason I put that particularly out there, one-time costs.
Anybody have anything else? Anybody want to talk about anything else?
What all you got on the list, Mr. Peters?
I got employees compensation, I got what we're gonna do with the home health dollars, I got schools, BCC, fund balance, and area of needs.
That's good.
Yeah, I'll live with that.
Y'all, anything else you want to add, Greg?
Not that I can think of.
If you would get with Miss Marie before you leave and schedule, Greg, you got your calendar so you can schedule something?
Yes, sir.
Be a whole lot easier with Miss Marie if we could do a little bit of it now, at least the first one.
How soon you wanna do
Three
it?
in a group.
In a week time, or how soon you
Well,
wanna do it?
whatever we can get it, but we, if we could get with her, it sure would help her, save her a lot of time. And probably be easier on us too. Okay,
But y'all, the reason I asked that,
we're through with that topic.
no, I'm talking about with the time, I'm talking about with the time. The reason I'm saying is you're gonna do it in the next week to 2 weeks, so you look at, everybody got calendars in.
We're gonna do the first set of meetings, and I don't know what your calendar is. It might be 2 weeks before you can get in there, is what I'm saying. I don't know how we
So we
can
do it
do
within the
that.
next week or two.
As soon as we can.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, other items. Greg, you wanna do a discussion around?
Yes, sir. We had a good conversation this past week, Mr. Britt, Mr. Peterson and I, with Sarah Stroud from East Point. Excuse me. And we would like to, we invited Ms. Stroud to come to make a presentation to the Board of County Commissioners. She may have a conflict on the 15th, and we discussed the possibility of scheduling a special meeting and a proposed date is Tuesday, the 16th of
For what day is that?
Tuesday, May 16th.
I can't do that, I got something coming up.
What time you looking at, Mr. Martin?
Any, I guess, usually 5 or after that, whatever time works for them.
That's May 16th.
Yes, sir, it's a Tuesday. We have a meeting on the 15th, a regular meeting on the 15th.
Is that BCC's graduation?
ENR on 15th.
That'll be our next calendar.
May.
May. We would have, I mean, it's not to take action tonight, it's just what, if we can come to an agreement, we'll put it on the consent agenda for next Monday. May 1st when we meet, but we were just trying to give it, that'd be an extra week time to get it on your schedule if that would
We
work.
were trying to get them time to prepare everything, and,
Right.
we really wanted to be here next week, but they couldn't do it, so she couldn't come the 15th.
Another group, Hope for NC, that was referenced in some of that information, representatives from that organization will be here on the 1st.
So 16th's not good?
Yeah, I can't.
What time does graduation start? You wanna try for the 23rd? May 23rd? Go, you're gonna have to.
What about the
I'm
22nd?
not joking.
What about that Monday, 22nd?
I wanted to go ahead and get this out in front of us. I didn't want to drag this thing on. This is about mental health, and I wanted to do it as fast as we could, but let's come up with some dates.
No, we meeting on the 15th.
First and 15th.
That's 2 weeks to.
She's got a conflict on the 15th.
What about the 22nd?
22nd? 22nd?
Monday,
That's on Monday, 22nd.
That'll be fine, to do that easy.
22nd? 22nd, Mr. Charles?
That's good.
What time are you talking about?
We'll,
5:30?
Greg will talk to her and put a date on there.
Or 5
So
o'clock?
just
It looks like
go-
about 5.
Go ahead and block the 22nd.
We're looking at like 5 o'clock.
We got whenever.
If that works.
4 o'clock.
Good.
What time do you guys can get here?
What time?
On Monday.
What time can you?
4:30, like.
3rd, yeah, 4:30.
If you do it at 4:30, Greg,
4:30?
whenever you can.
Monday, 22nd, 4th.
So he'll get us a time and confirm that next meeting.
Now, we're down here, right?
Then will. And what I think what they're gonna do, they're gonna send us a presentation, and we'll try to get it to everybody so you can review it, and if you got any questions. And they got some of their resources coming to give us a little brief description.
And we
you
received,
sent out some information.
well, I'm going to email, we didn't get it. We do have the audit, but there's also an email that has additional information I intend to share. And we'll
Yeah.
send we'll forward that email, but we'll also make hard copies.
So we'll get everything to you between 9 and 22nd. So if you got any questions, you can ask them.
Mr. Chairman, I know there was a brief discussion about the Public Safety Center at White Lake. And Bradley, I was talking to him, if anybody'd like to come over there, say for instance, Monday afternoon before the meeting, on next Monday, May 1st, he'll be glad to provide a tour of the facilities and let you see it, or if there's another time at your convenience, but glad for you to come out and look at it.
Isn't some of the guys working out there now every day? Ain't some of the
Yes, sir.
department out there?
Yes, sir. Bradley's,
Yeah,
office.
some,
Bracket's office right there.
yeah, okay.
yeah.
You mean like
But you used to-
5 o'clock?
5 o'clock, would be
I
great.
like it, though, I would.
Okay.
I wonder, I
If there's
had
not, I mean, if there's
no-
5 or more, we'll schedule a special meeting, but if not, just,
What's that for?
I mean, if anybody wants to come out to the Public
Oh,
Safety Center
right.
Monday afternoon at 5 o'clock.
This coming
May
May.
1st. May 1st.
What time is it, 5 o'clock?
That's the
That'd be
training center, I guess we call
The
it.
Public Safety Training Center. Is there no more than 5, no more than 4? I hear 3, I've heard from 3. Anybody else? You'd like to?
Next Monday.
I'm gonna take a look at it, see what it looks like.
Anybody ask for it? Anybody else need to schedule anything? Okay.
May 1st.
May 1st.
And we'll send you a reminder to,
5 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you.
thank you all very much.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? All opposed? Oh, let's take a short recess, we'll go.
Later this one.
We can.
Was the favorite class.
Recess, yeah, it's very good. Always have. That's the only given.
Manage, can't take it.